Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and Soundcloud, and now topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Fridays. To catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, joined by the resident wildcard, Mal.
May the 4th be with all of you.
No, don't start that. I'll have Star Wars fatigue really badly. I don't want to hear Star Wars today. The Dark Portugalist meta.
Hi. May the 4th be with you.
Oh my god. I hate you guys.
Love you.
And the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo. You get the last introduction today.
That's okay. I mean, and after all, last is best because I'm not going to wish you May the 4th be with you.
Thank you.
But he did still say it, so.
Because I'm saving it up for tomorrow.
That puts you first in my heart.
Revenge of the 5th.
You'll be the last person to die, Tetsuo.
No one's going to have any clue what we're talking about.
No, they're not.
Okay. I swear I'm not an axe murderer.
I don't know. You seem kind of shady to me. A kind of axe murdery shady.
Are you sure that's just not the Obsidian?
Yeah, it might be. Speaking of shady, we just did our first monthly module. We played a crew of Shady Lines. That is now up on YouTube by the time you're hearing this. And there might even be a second part up on YouTube. So please go check that out.
We were the best. Shady Lions? Excuse me? We were the most honorable lions that any lion ever did lion.
You're lying.
What?
The lion. So what's everyone been up to this week?
I beat Persona 5.
Yay!
At, I think, around 117 hours.
And I managed to beat it twice before you beat it once.
Yep.
You got laughed.
Video games.
My final file was 186 hours, but it's all because you didn't get to play Friday.
Yeah.
You got laughed, man.
Or whatever day it was.
I think that was Monday.
Oh, right. Yep.
I know what Meta's been doing. We're obviously going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
What about you, Teds?
Slowly making a dent in my giant mound of gunpla on my desk.
Oh my gosh.
We're just gonna get the mecha out of the way right now, and that way I don't have to talk about it any time in the rest of the episode. But
like I said, man, we don't judge you for your addiction. It's okay. We all have our addictions. You wear yours loud and proud. I'm proud of you.
True.
We're all addicted to things. Like, my problem is samurai.
And topos.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that's what my fortune power is about, so.
Mal's addicted to running overheads.
Yep. We've all got our problems.
I have a long list of addictions we won't get into.
Yeah, that doesn't sound shady at all.
I know, it just leaves it as like, don't worry about it, guys.
It's not hard drugs or anything. Come on.
Just the soft ones.
Yeah, just ibuprofen.
I just need my ibuprofen, man. I'm good for it, I swear.
It's not even a controlled substance. How are you addicted to it?
Just putting it out there. We do not at all condone any of this. This is us joking.
Yeah, of course.
Laying that claim now.
Like the one guy is like, I think they're serious.
Yeah. Oh, I'm worried about Obsidian. He has ibuprofen addiction. I'm not addicted. I'm just dependent on it. All right, let's get into the topic, shall we? Before we reveal some dark secrets that are best left unsaid.
Says you.
I have the first topic today, and it's L5R. Hey, who wasn't expecting that?
Surprise.
It's probably going to be for a long time because FFG has been pretty good about getting news out since their first announcement. And we're pretty sure at this point they're going to do one article per week since this week, I believe, was Destiny Worlds or Nationals, one of the two. The news kind of came later in the day yesterday. And the news they released is called the Conflicts of Rokugan. That was the article title. Talking about the final 3 phases of every turn we're going to take in the new L5R LCG. The third phase in the full game, the first one they talked about in the article, is called the Conflicts phase. This is your former attack phase in the old game where you went to combat. The first player is going to get the first opportunity to take either a military or a political battle. Based on what I read, let me know if you guys inferred this too. It sounds like you're not going to be able to swing at multiple provinces anymore. It says It said
Yeah,
swing at
that
a
sounds-
province.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, I think you swing at one province for military, and then one province which could
Yeah,
be
that's
a
what he
different one
means.
for political.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't select multiple provinces for your military conflict.
Oh,
right,
I
yeah,
see what
yeah,
you're saying. I don't. It doesn't look like that's gonna be a thing.
Which is interesting for Unicorn because that was kind of their evading stuff was their thing. But now, according to the article, they're going to have lots of movement tech. So moving into opposed provinces, they get sent home, coming back, stuff like that. So the player who wins the die roll at the beginning of the turn, is it the turn or is it the game?
It's as they describe later on. You pass like the first player thing. So
Okay.
The first one is whoever won the original determining of first player.
Yep. So he or she is going to get the first chance to take the swing at the province, either military or political. When he declares that attack, the first player is going to say, it's this conflict, I'm going to this province, and this is the element I'm going after. Characters must be readied or unbowed in order to assign to a battlefield and have a rank in the proper skill. So they can have a 0, but they can't have the dash, which we talked about that earlier when we saw the Matsu Berserker, I believe, card.
Yeah,
We
that
noticed
Yeah.
the dash on the political side, so we're like, he's probably not going to be able to go to political battles.
Yep. Dash denies you.
Battles are going to end after both players pass, basically just like the old game.
I think it's gonna be like a running trend for just in general. Is it looks like when we're really kind of gutting down the mechanics here, a lot of the core parts of the card game are still intact in this new one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it is, even with the card mechanics, is kind of what gave us that flavor of the game. So for them to buy the IP and to keep the IP, they kind of still had to do those tiebacks.
Both the attacker and defender will receive the element if they win the battle, but the attacker is the only one who gets to use the effects of it. If you win the battle and you're the defender, you get the ring, you just don't get to use the ability on the ring. We were talking about this earlier. I think this is where Phoenix is going to key in a lot, where they kind of want to win defensive battles and then get that ring to trigger off of their certain personalities that use the ring. So it feels to me more so, just based off what we've seen so far, that the Phoenix are going to be the kind of defensive clan along with the Crab.
Yeah. I wonder if Dragon's going to have that as well for the tie-in back to them being the ones that usually would push for like an Enlightenment victory.
Well, they talked about the dragon themes, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah, one of the dragon characters they showed off is only while attacking, so no
Yeah.
idea yet. But
Right.
so I hope there's Phoenix Honor. There usually was in every edition of the old game. It wasn't always like the most viable deck, but an Emperor, I mean, TOP was broken. It was meant to be like an honor stronghold, and people played it military just because it was so good, because it gave a unnegatable force penalty in the open phase. I think or I hope at least, that they're still going to have some kind of honor theme. If so, that might push me into playing Phoenix, because everything I've seen in Crane so far seems to be more about them being the line of the political attack phase, which I normally like playing defensively if I can in games. Okay, something else is different, and this is kind of interesting because it's not all about. This is what FFG talked a lot about, is having the snowball effect, getting rid of it. Ties now go to the attacker rather than split. So in the old game, if you split during a battle, all the characters just died in the battlefield. It was basically they all killed each other. And I thought that was really cool thematically, but I understand if they're wanting to keep the snowball effect from happening, then a good way to negate that is by having characters just not die in battle. So all the characters will go home bowed at the end of battle. Bowed characters obviously aren't going to contribute any of their military or political skill to the final tally.
Actually kind of makes sense, because they're not using like named characters that are all gonna like, die on a field of battle. These are considered to be like a lot of generic characters, so you could argue that's like, well, I had these Matsu Berserkers, and likely some of them died in this conflict, but some came back.
Yeah, and they'll probably fade typically.
yeah,
Well, and then-
things seem to die more often, so you don't need them all to just be obliterated.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them in that, because it would be really bad if you invested a lot of fate in one character and it just got obliterated, like without someone actively trying to remove fate from the character. So I think getting rid of that was smart, in that they are doing the Mono no Aware mechanic, where characters eventually fade anyways. What were you going to say, Tess?
With the introduction of the political attacking as well, unless you just did totally different mechanics for that, which would have been unwieldy, then how do you explain away political deaths? Like if everybody dies in the battlefield, but it's a political battle, it just, I don't know, thematically would be really weird that you would have that many people dying over, I don't know, an insult in court, you know? Or
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure. So yeah, it makes thematic sense, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the participants are going to bow and go home. And after all conflicts end, characters count the number of rings that they possess and the amount of glory they have on their standing or on their characters remaining. And whoever has the highest will get the Imperial favor, which you can, based on what I read, you can use it next round to give your personalities +1 military strength, or you can flip it over. I believe you choose whenever you choose, or whenever you win the favor.
Yeah.
You get the +1 military strength or +1 political strength.
Yeah, the way they worded it, it looks like you choose it when you get the favor.
Yeah, you can then place it on the political or the military side.
I like the old favor better, but
This
fun.
one's built in, so
Yeah.
like no one has to like actively like try for it.
Like
Yeah.
sending someone home as a defender was really good. Being able to discard a card and draw a card was also good. And in the old game, you could use it to re-honor your personalities.
Yeah, those type of effects are kind of built into the rings though too already. So
Yeah.
Oh no, I understand that. I just think flavor-wise, the old favor feels more right.
What does that glory thing do?
Oh, yeah.
The glory stat? How does that work?
The glory stat works if you have an honored character, their glory stat will add to their skills. And if the character is dishonored, the glory stat takes away from the skills. So honoring and dishonoring is probably going to be a really big, like, swingy mechanic.
Yeah.
And based on what they said, the line are all going to be about honoring their characters and getting that bonus skill, whereas obviously the Scorpion are going to be about dishonoring opposing characters. So
Right, debuffing them. And then when they die, does that do something?
yeah, I think they covered it in old articles, but you gain honor equal to the glory, or lose honor equal to the glory, depending on if they're honored or dishonored.
When they die, right? Or
Yeah, when you discard them.
I'm zooming in on this picture. It looks like it's just a static 1, I think.
Like just period. I thought
This Shinjo Outrider has 2 glory, but it looks like it's just an honor token. So I mean that also makes sense why it wouldn't have multiple values, because it says gain 1 honor when this character leaves the.
it might be. It was hard for me to read what the honor token said. The little small card.
Right, but if it's a static token, it makes sense there wouldn't be multiple values.
I mean, it might say X on it too. You never know.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like an X.
If it's 1, then probably line characters, I would assume, have more glory across the board if they're going to be all about honoring their characters.
Yeah,
Or how it would operate to mitigate that balance.
it lets them do more with the glory amount too, I think, because
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about accidentally, oops, I won because 3 of my characters died.
Next, we have the Fate phase. During the Fate phase, the first thing you do is you discard all your characters that have 0 Fate on them. Attachments also get discarded. So if you put that Jade Tetsuo on your person with no Fate, you have to take into account that the thing's not going to stick around for a while, unless you have some effect that switches it around or something. The next thing that you do in the Fate phase is everyone who has a Fate on them discards a Fate, goes back into the pool, and then after that, a Fate is placed on every unclaimed ring. And the next attacker who declares that ring claims its Fate. You don't have to take the ring. All you got to do is declare for the ring, and you get the bonus Fate to your pool.
That's
And
pretty cool.
Yeah, and Dragon are going to interact with the Fate that's on the rings.
that
So
makes-
the Togashi Initiate, when he attacks, he can spend a Fate that's on one of the rings and give himself a stat bonus to both the stats. And the other Togashi card, it did something that interacted with it too.
You can for each Fate on an unclaimed ring, it gets +1 political and militaries.
Yeah, so that seems really good,
But wait,
like late game.
the only thing I have a question about though is that if you declare a ring, and you get all the fate that's placed on all the rings,
Just that one ring.
oh, you just get on
Yep.
that one ring.
Yeah, whichever ring you're attacking.
Yeah, so the Initiate, he can do it on any ring. It doesn't have to be the one you're attacking.
Right,
Ah,
and he will
okay.
buff that other person if you put it on a different ring.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of how Dragon are going to interact with the rings, it seems, without the whole Enlightenment victory thing.
that makes sense.
It's neat. I like it.
Yeah, I was about to say I really like that. I think because and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they did that too, so that way you didn't have people constantly only attacking for 2 or 3 of the rings, just because of the effects of them. Like this,
Yeah,
at the
that'll
very
definitely
least,
help.
it'll encourage you to be a little bit more broad in your scope of your deck.
Yeah, it's going to make other targets more lucrative for sure.
Even if a Phoenix like only has fire ring effects on their characters, they probably can't just let the other ones sit.
I just look at the stuff and it really makes me want to see the whole set.
Oh yeah,
I
excited
know.
to see how everything interacts with each other.
That's pretty much the same as I just keep seeing these, and I'm like, I just want it all now.
I see,
don't have
the
that much
happier I am.
So the last phase we have is called the reprieve phase. Characters who are already bowed or unready, whatever they call it, they're going to unbow already. Players can discard face-up cards from their provinces and refill them face down. So this is what I was asking about last week. I'm glad to see that this is in because it is a big part of the last game. So
right.
it's just good that you can keep your provinces from being unclogged if you don't want them to be. Face-up cards on broken provinces are also replaced. So
Automatically,
yeah. So every turn, if your provinces are broken, if you want that guy and he's in your broken province, you have to buy him that turn or he's going to be discarded.
Which really puts weight on because again, the fact that the province isn't gone necessarily, but this at least still attaches a negative to having a broken province. Because otherwise, you didn't have a mechanical negativity to having it broken, besides your opponent being just that step closer.
And then all the rings go back to the pool and the next round starts. And that's basically everything I saw from the article.
Yeah, I'm liking how they are tying, like, as you explain the mechanics, you can really, like, like, this clan really cares about this mechanic, or at least, for now. They're really tying clans into the mechanical mechanics of the game, which is really nice.
Yeah, Dragon and Phoenix, so far, are my 2 favorite mechanical tie-in clans, because I just love that the Phoenix interact with the rings. That's just so super neat. And the Dragon Fate on the unclaimed rings just is really a really cool way to make them seem a bit like the dragon of old,
right?
But have them be different.
I want to see more holdings because I love my crab.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking forward to seeing how all the defensive cards for both the Phoenix and for the crab.
If I had to bet, I bet Phoenix will be more. Obviously they're going to manipulate with the rings. Hopefully they'll get some honor stuff. If they're going to be defensive at all, it's going to be honor. Crab will probably be more like the we come back and swing at you kind of defensive style.
Yeah.
So we attrition you a little bit, then we come back and hit you hard after you've swung on us. Or we're able to recover from attacking and therefore can defend. So they'll probably have some stuff like getting your guy home unbowed and stuff like that, I'm sure.
Like the old Conqueror keyword.
Yeah, stuff like Conqueror. So I think you guys think they'll eventually do probably clan-specific articles?
I would think so. It'll let them fill 7 weeks, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of weeks still, and if we've already covered all the phases, hopefully.
Well, next week is an in-depth look at a conflict example. So we'll probably get a lot more cards, I would hope, to see, like individual cards.
Yeah, and we'll probably see some more mechanical stuff too. Maybe duels.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I bet if they do the clan articles, those will probably be closer to Gen Con.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I could also see him trying to get him out of the way, like, because that's a big part of L5R. What clan do you identify with?
That's true. That's true. Like this has been the most positive I've been about any of the articles, though.
Yeah.
The battles feel like they're gonna. Go ahead, Tets.
One that everybody wanted to see because this is the one that's going to have the most weight. So the fact that you feel very positive about it, I think, is a very good thing.
Yeah, the battles feel very much like the old battles, the way you're going to interact and back and forth. So I like that. I'm not as low on the Mono no Ware mechanic anymore now that I know that people don't just die in battle.
Right.
You basically have the set phase where they get discarded, and most of the discarding effects are either very conditional or just remove fate from characters.
I like the crab got a attachment that basically acts as like a floating fate because you pay 1 and you remove that card instead of discarding them from play if they have 0 fate on them.
Yep. And just the fate tokens on the rings is a really neat idea. I'm super sold on that mechanic.
Yeah.
What's everyone's favorite card that they saw?
Honestly, I still like the Jade Tetsubo, but then again, I also really like Jade Tetsubos. So I don't know how much that's because of mechanics and just because I like.
It can be
what it's
either or,
supposed to
man.
be of.
Either or.
They're not mutually exclusive.
True. But I mean, the other thing is just, I know we've touched on this in previous episodes, because for me, I guess it's also the art, or obviously it's the art, but just all of the champions that we saw from some of the previous stuff they just look so good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see their actual cards.
I like the generic, or the not aligned cards they showed off this week too. It's nice. The Otomo Courtier and the Wandering Ronin.
Rip Spotter, that was your old sensei. I think it's Sahara Sensei or something like that.
Oh,
he was
really?
He was the old Spotter dueling sensei from the last edition of the card game. Everyone's like, well, he's a Ronin now. Spotter confirmed.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how much they'll add through that, and how much, and then like if we'll see any new actual factions come about.
Yeah,
but that's all much further away.
Do you have a favorite one so far, Meta?
Not really, no. I mean, they look all nice, they look all pretty cool, but nothing's really stood out to me as like, oh, this is awesome.
I'm gonna go with Lon's Pride Brawler. Who would have guessed?
Oh yeah,
I love me some Matsu beating some people up.
that was that the bushy courtier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's how a Matsu Courtier would act.
Yep.
Let me put it another way. This poor Phoenix guy, he's about to get beat with this fan.
Roll all stats using strength trait.
All right, Tets, what's your topic?
Well, I thought we'd continue on with L5R. I know that, so Strange Assembly,
Shout outs to Chris, who runs it.
they, or he, I guess, put up a quiz. AEG used to have a quiz similar, and I know you could find quizzes across the internet because it's the internet. But essentially, it let you take quizzes, and it was, it kind of showed you which of the clans your personality more aligned with. It's just one of those fun personality tests. But so he put one up, and I thought it would be fun for all of us to do it and to see how well we all lined up with our favorite clans, or do we actually seem, according to this quiz, to line up with the clans we least like. Luckily, Mantis and Spider probably aren't in it, but I thought that'd be fun.
All right, and for people who might not be more familiar with L5R than some of our other listeners, we'll basically give like a brief rundown of the clans right now, like a short blurb. So first, we obviously have the Crab. They're the gruff, don't care about court for the most part, defenders of the wall who fight the Shadowlands. It's their sworn duty to defend the rest of the Empire from the horrors that lie from the realm of Jigoku.
Duty is always more important than any of the other the other 6 aspects of Bushido for them, because if they fail in their duty, then there is no empire from which the Bushido to be held.
The next clan is the Crane. They're all about the courts, art, beauty,
Defining
culture.
Rokugan's culture.
Yes, their founder, Lady Doji, is the one who set up their society, basically. They and the Dragon typically have the best duelists in the Empire, and they're all about courtesy. The next are the Dragon. The Dragon are all about enlightenment.
The mystics.
Yes, they have Togashi monks who are these tattooed mystics. They love studying the Tao.
Think your usual portrayal of like wushu monks in movies, the whole guy that's bare-fisted and yet still punching a hole through a mountain. Exaggerated, but not fully exaggerated.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way the Dragon had a little bit of a feel. Part of them. That's not all of the Dragon, of course.
Yeah. And their Bushi, or warriors, also fight with 2 swords, so it's a big thematic thing for them.
Yep.
Next is the Lion. The Lion, or their Bushido trait, is honor, interestingly enough. They have the largest military. They're typically all about victory, glory, fighting on the battlefield. They're the most strict and stringent of all the clans. They're called the right hand of the Emperor, whereas the Crane are the left hand.
They're not. For some reason, I thought their Bushido was courage. Is that not the case, or?
No, theirs is honor. Next, we have the Phoenix. The Phoenix are, most people from outside looking in, the easiest way to explain it is the wizards of Rokugan. They study magic. They're very introspective, much like the Dragon.
Pacifists.
Yes, they're pacifists. They are all about finding a peaceful solution. The other clan is the Scorpion. Scorpion are the underhand of the Empire. Bayushi swore to be Hante's villain at the dawn of the Empire. Bayushi is their founding kami. They are also all about duty. See, this is why I think Crab or Courage, because I think Scorpion are duty.
Well, they're loyal. I was gonna say loyalty is above
It's like
all.
the same thing, basically.
For the Scorpion, because they're essentially the clan of espionage. Even though they are the villains, they are willing to take on that role because they're willing to do those things that other samurai are not, because it exists outside of the code of Bushido.
Yeah.
So if you have these guys that are outside the code, how else do you
Duty
how
and
do you build an
loyalty
organization
are the
structured around
same.
that?
Duty and loyalty are the same tenet.
Yeah, so I think Crab or Courage.
Yeah, so in that case, then for them, that loyalty above all else is what kind of unifies them. So that way, it's not just a clan of chaos, because they're not chaos. They are very much ordered,
Yeah, there is no real chaotic
as much as
clan.
they'd like others to believe.
And the last clan is the Unicorn. Their Bushido trait is compassion. They're all about helping to defend lowercase, more so than any of the other clans. They feature cavalry heavily.
And part of that reason, beyond just being called the Unicorn, or the Kirin as they were before they went on an self-induced exile, not exile.
Exploration.
They went to explore exploration. There you go. They went to explore the lands outside of the Empire. Obviously, horses would help with that. And they were gone for a long time, a few centuries, and I think it's 4 centuries that they were gone, something like that.
800
Longer
years.
than that, yeah.
800. Okay, so 8 centuries. But so when they came back, they brought all of this foreign culture with them. So with the Unicorn, you'll see aspects of Mongolians, of the Hun, the Chinese a little bit. I mean, Rokugan isn't 100% Japan. It still has elements of all those wrapped in it to begin
Yeah,
with.
they like their scimitars.
Yes, scimitars are very much part of them.
Particularly
least
the
in-
Moto.
Name magic, which was different from the magic that the Phoenix practiced, which isn't so much magic as it is asking the kami to do stuff for you. So they're kind of more priesty, whereas the weird gaijin magic of the Unicorn can be kind of different. But their biggest thing is that they're not quite like the rest of the clans.
They love their wanderlust. All right, so we're going to take this quiz, all of us. We're going to kind of work through our answers as we do it.
There are 16 questions.
Yeah,
Odds
Tats, it's
on.
your topic. Let's get started. You read the questions.
Alrighty. So the first question, when your clan draws blood, does it do so with the blade of a katana or cutting words? So military, political, or balance is one of the other options between the two.
I'm
Yeah.
obviously going to be more inclined to probably military in this regard.
What?
If I'm
Courtiers
thinking-
aren't samurai?
I'm thinking as a samurai in Rokugan, not a bushi.
We're not going to say that courtier are not samurai.
Of course not. But
Sashi.
I would probably be more the top in that setting who would be balls to the wall, like wanting to cut people in half.
Yeah.
So I'm clicking military. That's my explanation of it.
I think my thing too is like most of the clans I like part of the reason why I like them is the mental image of them being badass on the battlefield. I mean, you can be badass in the political battlefield, but it's cool to say something really smart and quipping and cutting to the bone. It's awesome and badass to actually cut somebody to the bone. So I'd have to go with military as well.
I am choosing a balance in all things because I love to be a jack of all trades.
Hey, man, that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
My face when Mal's a dragon. All right, what about you, Meta?
I'm gonna choose military because generally, when I cut somebody, it is with a sharp object.
See? That's the correct answer.
Cutting words seems really weird.
All right, so second question is, how important is your honor? There's 4 options here. Honor is my life. Honor is my life, but mind that the ways of my ancestors are not the ways of yours. Honor is a luxury I cannot afford, and honor is an impediment to my duty, a weakness to be avoided.
Meta, why don't you answer first this time?
On a scale of...
On a scale of 1 to honor.
1 to 10, because that's how honor goes. Or 1 to 25 in the card game.
Let's go with my honor is my life. The idea is that honor is pretty important to an individual, and in real life, usually we want to hang out with those kind of individuals, not the ones that are, going to potentially, not keep
nice
to the
scumbags.
word. Yeah, nobody really likes to hang out with jerks and scumbags, so.
I am going to choose the second one. Because while it is a nice goal to strive for, it might not always work out.
What is the second one?
My honor is my life, but mind that the ways of my ancestors are not the ways of yours. I think I'm actually going to go with option 3. Honor is a luxury I cannot afford. Only because honor's great. Honor is something that we should strive for. It's definitely something to be put up on a pedestal. But sometimes you can't factor that in. And sometimes you just have to make a snap decision, and what you do is what you do, I guess. It's much more true to instinctual, I feel like, that option is.
Are you the type to act on instinct?
Yeah, I'm the type that
Really?
doesn't really think. Yeah, I'm very much the guy who just blurts out everything he's thinking. I wear my gunpla addiction on my sleeve. It's very much the person who I am. So moving with instinct, I think, is probably the truest vote I should do for that.
See, this is tough for me because I try to be honorable in real life. I mean, you always can't be, and I have some friends that are kind of scummy.
I think if you,
To be honest.
I think you have to remember that honor is always going to have. There's no technically set. If you really look at the word honor, any definition set to it requires far more than just a simple oh, this just means you're happy, or this just means you're sad. So it's never going to be that easy of a thing, and honor is always going to be a very hard thing to strive for. I mean, you can even get people who mince when is it okay to tell the truth kind of thing. So
It's not my life, but it is a luxury I can't afford. So I wish there was something in between those, because I don't feel like number 2 is
Yeah.
really in between.
yeah.
So, but it's more my life than it isn't. So we'll go with my honor is my life.
Alrighty. Question number 3. When other clans support you in conflict, why do they do so? We have spent centuries developing networks of allies.
I feel like I know these answers and what they're referencing to already.
Blackmail is one of the answers.
I'm going to try to answer this in real life, how this would happen.
Yeah.
Would be no Rokugan. How would you do that one in real life?
There would be no America.
There'd be no
Attacking
America.
us is an affront to the
Then
commie.
I'm obviously not going to choose probably those two.
So we do not crush them as well. The hope of treasures from afar brings many friends unpredictability and allies unpredictably.
I know one of my friends would be like that completely. One of you
Is that
guys
really-
go first while I read through them again.
Man, don't put me first on this one.
Option of everybody's my allies because I'm nice. I feel like that's my answer.
Go with it then. I'm kind of like,
There's not one there.
I'm not super good at networking, honestly, so that wouldn't be mine.
Not at all.
No, that would not be mine either. Fairly certain attacking me would not be an affront to Kami either.
I think I would have to look through this through the lens of as a Rokugani as opposed to me, because these are kind of worded in that.
Yeah,
that
I'm going to have to
mentality.
go with what I would want from my clan in Rokugan.
No, but then if you do that, I mean, not to. These almost seems like
Yeah,
a very much a quiz that somebody who's just started the game doesn't know what they want,
Right.
and goes through this. If you're trying to base this off yourself, there's gonna be problems. Obviously, if you've already played the game and already kind of know what you're at or what you like, then this becomes very obvious on what the answers are going to be and what they reference to. Makes it a little
True.
bit hard.
Well, when there is 7, it's more obvious, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first one that's been choose from 7. Each one is obviously a clan.
I'd like to have allies as Rokugani, but they often backstab you.
Yeah. Right.
Blackmail's pretty good to have in that setting, honestly. I'm going to go with blackmail.
I know my opinion's being colored by, again, knowing it. I feel like I'm on the fence of blackmail, and without us to defend, there'd be no Rokugan. Partially because that statement in and of itself, if you're not my ally, I might let Simone through to your lands.
Yeah.
So I think with that reasoning, I'd have to go with blackmail as well.
I'm just gonna go with I don't know. Let's go the line route so we do not crush them as well.
I'm going crab because that's what if I was trying to look at this without fresh eyes, or I mean, I guess, or maybe it's the Harry Potter thing of like what the answer you want actually matters too. So I'm choosing that option. Without us to defend it, there would be no Rokugan.
You know what, if you put it like that, then I would probably go without us to defend it. There would be no Rokugan as well.
Pick that then.
Yeah.
Which Bushido virtue is most important to you? And it has the 7. Honor, courage, loyalty, honesty, compassion, courtesy, and sincerity.
Well, we were arguing over which one
so we obviously don't. Yeah, we obviously don't know what these are for each clan, apparently.
We might have a good idea, but...
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to base this off of real life. What do I try to live my life with?
Yeah, I am too.
Compassion isn't the best, honestly, for me. I'm not always the most compassionate person.
Yeah.
Or am I the most courteous?
I'm going with yeah.
Or am I the most honest? I try to be sincere. I am very loyal.
I think I have to go with sincerity because, again, kind of the whole, like, I wear who I am on my sleeve. And so whenever I say something, it's very much what my heart is feeling at the moment. So I think I'm going to go with sincerity for that reason.
I'm going with compassion.
I knew Mal was going to go with compassion.
Shinjo at heart.
I can't.
Those running overheads.
I can't even choose the mean option in video games.
Yep.
You literally can't go renegade.
I'm actually going to go courage because I try to live my life without hesitation.
That Gryffindor.
What?
So,
Gryffindor, yo.
I don't know Harry Potter at all, so.
God, this is a really hard one. I honestly try to live my life like by so many of these. To nerd out.
Yeah, there were a couple. I just had to go with which one feel most important at this moment. Nothing bad is going to happen.
You don't know that.
Based on the opinion.
You don't know that.
We're going to completely judge you forever, man.
No.
I'm compassionate and won't judge you.
2 things that are big for me have always been loyalty and honesty. Setting aside honor, I'm going to set aside that one.
Yeah.
Loyalty is very important to me because it shows that you're not just trying to create some simple connection with somebody for anything beyond the fact that you do want to create the connection for a person. If you're so willing to create it and then drop it, you were never really loyal to begin with. And those kind of people are not people that I like to associate with. But I also believe in honesty. Even if it's brutally blunt, you need to be honest with somebody. And you need to tell them to, like, look, dude, one of the best things you can do for a good friend of yours is to tell them that what they're doing is messed up. Even if it puts your friendship at the cost of it. Because you wouldn't be a good friend if you didn't. So those 2 concepts, those 2 kind of things in life are so very important. And I think at the end of the day, out of the 2 of them, I'm going to say honesty because if I'm really going to be loyal to, if I'm really going to be the kind of person that I want to be, I need to be okay with the fact that sometimes, even if I want to do the right thing, it means I might lose something that I care about. And that means being honest with them. That's what I got to do.
Good answer.
So here's a question. And this might be delving a bit into meditations on the Bushido itself. What's the difference between honesty and sincerity? Like, the 2 seem very closely...
Well, give your opinion, Meta.
Of the 2, I mean, if you go by technically definitions, sincerity, like where honesty is, let's see here real fast. Honesty is pretty much about having a fairness or straightforward conduct, adherence to facts. It's a sense of it's essentially always being clear on what you're doing and not hiding anything. Hence, you're being honest about it. But
you can be honest to someone without being sincere in that honesty.
Can I lay the wisdom of a Kodokomi on you for a second?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I'm going to.
Please. Please.
Honesty. Be acutely honest throughout your dealings with all people. Believe in justice, not from other people, but from yourself. To a true samurai, there is no shades of gray in the question of honesty and justice. There's only right and wrong. Set lies aside, a samurai does not make honesty or justice a matter for debate. He knows that there is only truth and falsehood, justice and injustice. Sincerity is a samurai's words and his actions are one and the same. To promise would be redundant. When a samurai has said he will perform an action as good as done, nothing will stop him from completing what he has said he will do. He does not have to give his word. He does not have to promise. The action of speaking alone is set the act of doing in motion. Speaking and doing are the same thing.
So he's very honest in his actions.
Honesty is all about the truth. Sincerity is about living what you say. At least through the lens of Bushido, as Koto Kami interprets it.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, that's how they
Who
see
are we
it.
to
in the
question?
game.
Yeah, I know, right?
What was that?
Who are we?
I said, who are we to question him?
I'm gonna question him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna question him on one
I'm-
reason, because freaking sincerity and honesty are super close to one another.
It's true.
Yeah, by our definitions.
Yeah.
I think it also kind of is. It's similar to when you look at the seven deadly sins, and you have envy and greed.
Yep.
How the two of them are kind of really, really close, but they are kind of separate. I think that the two are really, really close, but they are kind of separate.
In this case, it's more of the words probably mean different in Japanese, and that's the best they could do to translate them. So
Possibly.
we're also
Anywho.
probably rambling a little bit too long on this.
There are still 12 other questions.
No, there's
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
It's the only question now.
We don't want an hour-long section of the podcast.
Which elemental ring do you embody?
Fire.
Air is in intuition and subtlety. Earth, fortitude and will. Fire is energy and drive. Water is strength and adaptability. And void is devoid of an explanation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the void. You want to go first on this one, or Mal, or Meta?
I'm choosing fire because I like it.
Are you a Genki girl, Mal?
I don't know.
Genki means energy.
Ah,
It's
I
the trope
don't
in manga where they're
know.
super excited.
I see. I just like fire in all things. I'm choosing
Okay.
fire.
You just want to burn it down.
I'm just gonna choose
You
air
know?
because I've always liked wind elemented stuff. So
Yeah, I have to choose fire because even the air stuff I like, which is my second, it's usually lightning, which in the case of L5R tends to fall under fire, and I can see that. Different descriptions, energy. I feel like if there's one thing that does describe me is lots of energy, because like I just always seem to have hyperactive energy, so I just feel like it fits me best in that regard. And I like to set things on fire. So
Eh.
I'm pretty tough and headstrong, maybe more stubborn than headstrong, so I'm going to go with Earth. All right, next question.
you guys were far deeper than I was about this.
I like fire.
how do you venerate the Tao, the collected teachings of Shinsei, and the mortal who brought wisdom to the immortal Kami? I give my copy of the Tao a place of honor, my brand new and shrink copy, that is.
I know who that one is.
Yeah.
I dedicate my life to the Tao. I contemplate the Tao when it's convenient, or isn't the reading the Tao for after I retire to a monastery?
I kind of like that answer.
I kind of like that answer too.
That is my answer.
That's what I'm going to go with too.
Yep.
I don't want to pick the obvious blind one. So
I gotta go with I contemplate the Tao when it's convenient. Again, it kind of plays into the way that I described honor of it's nice when you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's nice to think about the Tao. It's nice to put it into a place of importance in your life, but at the same time,
I'll get to it later when I retire.
yeah, same.
If I retire.
All right, so I guess that's the next question.
Yep.
What importance do you place on Rokugani art and culture? Very important. For that, if I wasn't so busy killing monsters to keep you safe. Very important. If by art you mean my morning kata, of course. And it's very important, and my idea of art and culture is broader than most.
And it's nice, I guess. Very important for me. I like the arts. I wouldn't be so bold to say that I am Rokugani art and culture.
What's Rokugani art and culture? Samurai? What?
I'm gonna have to go with very important. If by art you mean my morning kata. I just
I'm gonna go. What?
no, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go with it's very important, and my idea of art and culture is broader than most. I like other stuff too.
Fist bump, Mel. What about you, Tets?
I'd have to go with I'd have time for it if I wasn't so busy killing monsters to keep you safe, but because I feel like that last part is kind of a blank statement that I can also say I'd love art if I wasn't working on this at home, or if I wasn't doing this, or if I wasn't, because I want to draw more. I'd love to try to paint and stuff, but at the same time, I'm busy putting together plastic Gundam models, so I didn't have time for it.
Well, there you go.
So, what is your greatest strength? I am in harmony with the elements in the kami and can draw on their power. I am disciplined and a master of military strategy. I have great insight and see the reality in all things. Make life worth living. I will defend my comrades and country until my dying breath. New knowledge and experience to my people. Or I am willing to sacrifice more than my life to preserve the empire. I was missing the letter or the word too.
Yeah, we probably don't have to dwell on this one too long. They're pretty obvious what they're all going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the defend one because that's probably what I'd pick in actual real life. Now I'm going to get crab watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking too, just because I value it the most.
I'm also not entirely sure the difference between that one and the last one. Besides, that one's your comrades and country, whereas the other one's just the empire.
Scorpion.
So that one actually includes your friends.
Scorpion.
I'm actually going to say I have great insight and see the reality in all things, which just, again, goes back to my belief that, like, you need to stay it as it is.
You're so introspective, meta.
It's what I do.
I think I'm going to go with I will defend my comrades and country until my dying breath. So what is your greatest flaw? Follow up to that.
I don't have a flaw. That's my greatest flaw.
I am arrogant in my superiority, so there you go. Anyway. No. So I am arrogant in my superiority, respond badly when someone claims to have mastered an aspect of my art that I have not. That's the full answer for that one. I will use any pretext to take offense because I want to fight. Manipulations fail, I am unable to physically defend myself. Cats are not the only thing that has been done in by curiosity. I am uncouth and proud of it. Sometimes I am underhanded for a cause, but often I'm just underhanded. Or I claim to be wise, but I'm prone to inaction.
I'm arrogant in my superiority. Sometimes I do just think I'm better than other people, much to my my fault when I'm indeed not.
That's going to take me way longer than I'd like it to.
What about you, Mel?
Cats are not the only thing that has been done in by curiosity.
Yeah, that's
I like that answer too.
I have to go with that one as well.
My curiosity just never gets me in trouble in real life.
I'm not that curious.
I go, that seems interesting to learn about.
Man, I don't know. Let's just say I'm uncouth. I'm proud of it.
Okay.
All right. So the next question. All samurai train to use a katana. What weapon do you use if you want to keep 3 dice when you attack? Poor meta. Anyway, it says I've got your warhammer right here. A yari of one sort or another. Horsebow, lance, anything you can use better from a saddle. I would certainly never stoop to using something like a ninjato. There's no such thing as ninja. Or I use my wakizashi with my katana. 2 hands.
That's another also kind of obvious one.
Yeah.
Of all these weapons, though, I like the spear the most.
Yeah, I'm going to go with spear too. I've always been a fan of spears.
Always been attracted to warhammers. Warhammers, big mashy things.
Yeah. I like the first 2, so coin, and I got Warhammer.
All
right.
So where do you feel most at home? A library, in an elegant decorative garden, atop high cold mountain peaks, a military training ground, on top of the largest stone fortifications in the world, or anywhere with open skies and a distant horizon?
Some of these places
That
sound really nice, though. Man, like, I think it would just depend on how I'm feeling that day. There's no perfect one, but it would definitely be.
They're also obvious, too.
Yeah, that's true, too. I'm going to just take an elegant decorative garden. I mean, that's a lot of work to make that.
Yeah, I'm going open skies and distant horizon. I think that one sounds the nicest most often for me.
Yeah, I like being in nature.
I can lose myself forever in books. All right, so how flies your arrow? With good aim, or the arrow knows the way?
Knows the way, baby.
It knows the way because I gave it a GPS. Jeez.
I'm guessing this is a reference I'm not aware of because I don't know a ton.
I know what it is, so go ahead. Pick as you will, Mal.
I have the least experience. I'm going with the arrow knows the way.
What about you guys?
I mostly know this for Surichi. I don't know anything else beyond Surichi, and considering the mantis isn't an option. I don't. I can't read into it. But honestly,
I'll just go with the arrow knows the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with good aim because I feel like that even with the arrow not knowing the way, there's got to be some type of subconscious aiming going on.
All right.
What about you, Obs?
I said knows the way totally.
You want to explain yourself?
It sounds cool.
I meant, what does the question mean?
Oh, I'll tell you at the end.
I am a master of war, court.
Magic and enlightenment? No. We're going war.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose war.
Let's say
I wanna-
war.
I want to say war, but at the same time, if I look at myself, I feel like magic/enlightenment's a better option because I like reading and
Then pick
doing
it.
other things. Yeah, we're just gonna pick it. We're gonna be different. My favorite specialist character class is Oracle,
Not a decision.
Cavalier, Monk, Fighter. If it was good enough for my ancestors, it's good enough for me. Berserker, Ninja, or Artisan. And it's hands down the Berserker. Mao will tell you, I love playing Berserkers and Barbarians in D&D.
I am not
I love
seeing.
any class that gives me rage.
I'm not seeing a summoner in here, so I'm just gonna have to go with fighter.
Oracle's pretty close. Yeah, I'm fighter too.
I'm gonna go
Pretty
with fighter.
traditional.
I've always liked the kind of the straight up fighter classes. So
I'm just traditional, so it's
Fighter-
good enough for the ancestors. It is good enough for me.
I'm not seeing a Gish option, which is always my preferred go-to in like D&D. So I'm just gonna choose fighter.
So which do you value more? What is right or what is honorable? I don't care much
Honorable.
about either of those things. Right, definitely for me.
yeah, what is right?
And again, that's where that honor question comes into play.
Yeah, I'm choosing what is right.
Yep, I'm the devil's advocate here.
Meh.
And finally, what play style suits you? I invest heavily in individual characters who have balanced strengths in a long-term board position. I sacrifice honor for additional options in conflict. I leverage my political might using the skills of my honored characters to force opponents out of a conflict. I play aggressively, and I'm able to shift my characters in and out of conflicts against attacks, weathering them, and then striking back when my foe is vulnerable, and I make extensive uses of holdings. I am pacifistic, discouraging conflict and exerting control over the nature of that conflict, or I focus on military aggression and swarm tactics.
Well,
I gotta
how
say-
I play L5R, I'm pacifistic. I'm gonna pick that.
How I play L5R, I'm on the balance between defending against attacks and focusing on military aggression. But most other games, I tend to do military aggression, whether it's like turn-based strategy games or just going to go with I focus on military aggression and swarm tactics.
All right.
Considering how I played, it was generally utilizing, for L5R at least, was utilizing duels above all else. So none of these really matched that, but I did have I did have some military defenders in there over political, so I guess I'll say I play aggressively, and I'm able to shift my characters in and out of conflicts.
And Mal.
I am choosing the same, since that's probably more what I tend to play outside of L5R. I haven't actually played a lot of
Burn.
L5R card game.
Mal likes his burn decks.
All right, what everyone get?
Tune in next week and no, I'm kidding. Did anybody get anything that they didn't want?
I was surprised what I
That's
got
the
based on my answers, but I mean, slightly.
What'd you get?
I got lion. I thought I was going to get crab. Just based on some of the stuff I picked was like courage and I don't know. There was a few other answers I thought that were fairly crabby that I picked, like defending the empire, stuff like that. But I got lion kind of like that too, and the honor questions probably are what pushed me over.
Yeah, I was going to say the lion and the crab both being major militaristic powerhouses. There's a lot of overlap in that regard.
I even picked some that weren't necessarily like. I mean, I picked the war is important in military conflict. I think that was about as thoughty as I got with my answers. What about you guys?
I got unicorn, which doesn't really surprise me. based on my answers and the fact that
Yeah.
the Shinjo at least are probably the closest that I identify with.
Yeah. By the way, the bow question, Unicorn actually aim in their archery.
See,
Called
I don't.
Yomonri.
I thought it was only the Surichi that did the arrow knows the way thing.
No, that's the whole out in the RPG. It's all reflexes. It's just the draw, shoot.
Ah.
That's how everyone does it except Unicorn. What'd you get, Meta?
Oh, I got Lion Clan. No surprise there. That's
Yeah.
what I
What'd you
got
get?
when I did the quiz the olden days, and I've got that now.
What'd you get, Tets?
Click, click, click. I got my crab clan.
There you go. So we basically all got kind of. I think
Yeah.
Line's pretty right. In real life, I'm probably Line or Crab, one of the two. Because I live in the South, and the Crab are basically Southerners. I think the quiz is actually better than the old AHG one, but I do think it's more for people who probably are unfamiliar with the setting. Because you're obviously going to know the answers if you know anything about it.
I'm sticking with what I said in the beginning. This quiz is very clearly designed for individuals who are getting into the game, kind of want an idea of like what might suit them, but overall, still don't know enough about it to really come to their own opinions yet of everything.
Yep.
It was still kind of fun though.
It was decent.
Yeah, it was fun to go through all the questions on here. And I hope
I feel like
you guys enjoy it.
it's a little bit more fun to have done with people as opposed to doing it on my own because again, it is a little on the transparent side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's get to Meta's topic then.
All right, so I think we like samurai. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
you're wrong.
Okay, well, I guess I was wrong then.
Go home.
But for those of us who actually do like samurai, then you'll be probably pleased to know that Nioh obviously just came out with its newest DLC, the Dragon of the North.
Who's that?
Well, it's a dragon, and he's in the north, and he's a really cool guy, and he's a really cool dragon, and he dragons things above. So there you go.
Use Niten.
Dragon Bow?
Dragon
Bro?
Bow. No, the DLC actually takes us to the northern areas, to the Tono and whatnot. And it is dealing with Date Masamune, who was one of the lords during the Sengoku period. He was pretty much at the most northern tip of Japan. He was a pretty cool guy, but ironically enough, he didn't actually have huge influence on the war, although he did definitely prove he was a pretty baller guy when he was able to defeat the Uesugi. Yeah, Uesugi.
Kenshin Uesugi.
Yeah.
And his horse has tailpipes on it, right?
Yes, his horse has tailpipes on it, and he revs it every now and then. He's got bars to make sure it rides properly. But yeah, no, he shows up in this DLC. The whole conflict is kind of dealing with them. The DLC
Is
also
this-
what?
I was gonna say, can you get to it before or after?
No, you have to play through the game to get to it.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm aware, you have to, but I mean, somebody could correct me on it. But I'm fairly certain you do have to play through the game to get it. It came out with a couple of things, and it also came out with patch notes. But the most important thing to know is that it came out with obviously some new yokai. It came out with obviously more missions. The whole package in total for story missions, at least, is only 3, which is kind of disappointing. Thought there was going to be more to it, but it's not. So
Yeah, that is a little sad.
Well,
But,
it's free, isn't it?
it is not free.
Oh, it
Yeah.
isn't?
No.
How much is it?
That is also a very good question because I bought the season pass, so I didn't have to pay for that. But I would likely guess I can just look it up here real fast.
Just keep talking. I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah, just there you go. Perfect. It did come with, as I stated, a new patch as well with some extra features, which I'm going to read off to you as well. You got some new Guardian Spirits, about 2 of them. You got new weapons in there, new armor. It didn't really add in. It added some new armor sets. Obviously, one of the biggest things it added in was the Odachi, one of the new weapon types you can actually swing around. I enjoyed the crap out of it personally, but everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. But it's just this giant arse sword. It kind of falls into line of what the axe does, being this kind of power-heavy move weapon. But unlike the axe, where it's all about just brutal, uncaring strikes to your opponent's defense or lack thereof.
And the axe doesn't care if you get hit and stuff.
Yeah, the axe gives you kind of like, the axe enhances like super armor and whatnot. So being hit while you're wielding the axe, on top of wearing like heavy armor, pretty much just means you're never gonna get interrupted by anything. The Nodachi kind of falls into that. It's a little bit more dexterous than I would say the axe is. The biggest thing about the Odachi is the fact that it has a lot of stance dancing to it. You can unlock some skills in on it, and what it'll do is that if you end your combo with either a certain button press or a certain move, it'll transition you into a different stance. So you could be in the mid stance and swinging.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you press like your heavy button at the end of the combo, it'll transition you to the to a heavy stance strike that will add on top of it.
That almost makes me think of the Switch Axe, I think it's called, from Monster Hunter. A little bit.
I don't know. I never played it, so I couldn't say. But
Yeah, it seems like this one it lets you combo even more than before.
Yeah.
I mean,
any other weapon.
it's still a combo ender. You just transitions you into that stance, but the ability to transition into them is very nice. And it also allows you to kind of like decide if you want to get the extra swing in, or if you want to end on that stance, or if you want to, because you can even go into early. I mean, you could press like the regular attack once and then transition with a heavy attack as the second part of the swing. So it gives you a lot of freedom. Beyond that, it has bonuses against human players, or human characters in the game. When you win the Odachi, you'll get extra damage against them. It also increases your grapple damage, so you can buff those up there. Its special abilities, it has an Iaijutsu Slash, which I was really surprised by.
Weird.
It was a little bit weird, yeah, but it has one of the longest reaching Iaijutsu Slashes, I would say. It's pretty, and it's pretty potent too, so take it for what it is. It's not as good as the single katana, but it's there. It does have a pretty cool move where the animation where you'll do these kind of like heavy swings, and you'll see kind of like petals come off of it that are like lotus petals, and then you'll see like sakura petals afterwards on the second and the third part of the animation. So it's really cool. But beyond that, it kind of takes, like I said, it takes kind of a stance between being an axe and a single katana. It has a lot of stuff where there's a lot of things in there that definitely give you bonuses against targets when they either have like no key left, or you're kind of able to overpower them. But it also has some finesse to it with like the stance changing and whatnot. So it's a very fun weapon, but it is still slow. It kind of takes that, unfortunately, from the axe. And its AoE potential, I think, is fine, but you are kind of limited to, if you're in a group fight, you kind of do need to use just the middle stance otherwise, because all the other attacks tend to not have a lot of horizontal prowess to them. So, but it's pretty fun.
Have you beaten it yet, the DLC?
Oh yeah, I already beat it.
How long was it?
It's not long. I would say, maybe if you take your time, collect everything, go through it, make sure you're checking out every route and whatnot, I would say it might take you 4 hours.
Wow.
So
$10 is the cost of it, by the way.
Yeah. So there's that. That said, the patch did bring more than just, with that DLC. It brought along an online PvP mode, which I'll just say right now, personally, it sucks.
Yeah, that's what I read earlier on Kotaku before,
it is
saying it just doesn't really work.
No.
Basically.
The general strategy is that there are just certain moves that either simply just overcome players because of how potently strong it is, how it comes out, how it can trip you up. Magic, again, with certain spells, are just completely busted. If you get hit by it, it's a huge penalty to you, so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that you've done, and then there's just the issue that the network itself is pretty poor. There's a lot of people, you can see in a lot of videos up there, there's a lot of people who are having the problem of where they'll look like they're moving and whatnot, and then all of a sudden they'll be pulled back to the position because the game was like, no, you were hit, so you're actually going to be here so that you show you got hit.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that is a shame. You do get combat titles for it, though, and you do get some stuff for it. The 2 new Guardian Spirits are actually very cool. I like them a lot. They're very interesting. You also get to actually have 2 Guardian Spirits now, which is pretty badass. The second Guardian Spirit that you'll be able to choose for your slot, it doesn't do much for you. It only adds a passive bonus on one of its skills that's kind of like a heritage skill. That'll vary depending on which spirit you're utilizing. And then there's generally what's considered a combination bonus, where depending on what spirits you have chosen, you'll get some extra passive, like 2% more key regeneration, or a little bit more wind damage. It's not a lot, and truth be told, the passive bonuses are really, that like set bonus of the combination of the two is really just there to be helpful. in a very, very minute way. It will not factor really into what you choose. You do also get to now finally play as female characters. You can go in and finally buy female character models and then transform William into one of them. So you can run around as Okatsu, the ninja, Gensho Tachibana, or as, yes, Mal put it,
Tachibana.
Or you can have the best waifu there is, Blacksmith waifu. So
That is correct.
Blacksmith waifu, don't be like that, Obs. So they added new gestures. You can get, obviously, as I said before, new equipment sets, bonuses. They added actually new skills for every category, although the other ones that technically really are interesting are the ninjutsu and the omyo magic skills. The samurai skills are just new passive ones, not counting the whole new Odachi set. They're just passives that allow you to either increase range damage, barehanded damage, or melee damage. So that's it. They're very passive, and I wouldn't bother with it unless you are already done with that route, and now you are just going to go that.
So it sounds to me like more the update isn't mostly about the new content. It's more changing the way that you can play the game, I guess. That's like the biggest thing, based on what I'm hearing from you.
Well, there's not a lot that was actually added to help change the game, though, beyond the Odachi itself and the new ways for the Spirit Guardians. It's kind of the...
Yeah, with like only 4 hours of new story, though.
Yeah.
It's like not, and that's with exploring. It's not like a super huge DLC.
I wouldn't say it changes the way. I would say there are new routes you can take, but it doesn't fundamentally change how the game is, at least your choices for how you're playing this game. But you've got new items, like you can now throw a fire pitch jar at people, and it'll set them ablaze, which is pretty nice.
New stuff and new skills.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
It seems like that's like the coolest new thing that's in the patch and in the DLC.
Yep. That was part of the free update. There were some bug fixes that were in there. There was actually a fair amount. They did adjust certain difficulties for bosses and the like. You can find all the patch updates on Reddit itself. If you go to the Nioh Reddit, you can find them there. Tons of bug updates. They did do some changes to creatures. They changed some stats, how things work. They even modified how certain abilities work or how bonuses might affect your character's value. So you can just read all through there and see how it is in that and whatnot. The one thing, though, I want to state is that the biggest thing that they did do was they added on another new game plus called Way of the Demon. In this mode, you can now finally collect higher level gear. You can go up to plus 20 on your gear, and your enemies have insane bonuses to them. They will oftentimes, you can come across creatures like where they will have like triple debuffs. One might hit you and all of a sudden you're on fire, you're also poisoned, and you have the sloth spell now cast upon you just because you got hit once.
That's brutal.
It's very brutal. I haven't had a chance to really play tons of it, but enemies are no joke in there. They'll beat you up if you're not careful. So personally, I've enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm a little sad that there was only 3 stages in there, although I understand why they did it. What is interesting, though, is that the DLC seems to be in and of itself leading into a bigger story, because this DLC ends and then it leads into essentially more story that complements this DLC. So the DLCs themselves seem to be, in effect, a full story once all of them are out. And that's what I'm kind of hoping for will be the case. It hints at that at the end of it. I won't tell you how, because obviously I don't want to ruin it for anybody who has not played it yet. But it is very fun. It is very worthwhile. Oh, one other thing they did change. The levels. The max level is now 400. It used to be 750, but they changed it to 400. So now you actually have to carry put your points at.
Diminishing returns, man. It sounds like more probably something you got more your bang, that you personally got more your bang for your buck on, since you got the season pass. People who are buying individually, you're probably gonna.
I would say to all the. Yeah,
it doesn't sound like something I would spend $10 on personally.
It's yeah. I mean, that's always going to be a thing about DLC, which is it worth your own cash or whatnot? I mean, that's definitely something to talk about. I think in the future,
could be worse. It could be Fire Emblem, where it costs more than the game.
God, yeah. Well, that's a discussion for another time.
That's Nintendo.
If you're willing to enhance your game, this is definitely a way to do it. If you want to get the new, the only thing I think it's kind of a downside is that the only way to get the new game plus is to get the DLC, which is kind of a little bit annoying. In order to play Way of the Demon, you have to buy the DLC. Otherwise, you are just stuck to Way of the Strong is your hardest difficulty.
Yeah, that's what sucks about Zelda, too, because the only way to play hard mode on it is to get the DLC that's about to come out.
Yeah, that's a little bit
That
frustrating.
stinks.
Yeah, I do not like that, but that's what they want.
Maybe we're seeing another trend.
Yeah, God. So there's a lot more, like I said, about the patches. You can check it out. I don't want to, bog you down with all the information, but there's some cool stuff in there. I would definitely read it up. There's a lot of information. You can go to the Reddit, like I said. There you have tons of people posting up about everything. Although, again, I think the biggest disappointment was definitely the PvP. But I don't know. I was talking with somebody of mine about that when I went into it. I'm going to stick with what I said. I said, this game was not designed with PvP in mind. I don't know what they think they're going to do when they bring PvP in here, but it is not going to be fair. They're going to be very clearly defined best builds.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like Dark Souls kind of stuff, basically. That's what they're trying to do.
I think so too, but I think they need this is definitely an area they need to work on. I mean, the single player works fantastic, but
I feel like Dark Souls 2 did have a little bit in mind, though, for player balance, at least in 2 and 3.
I know there were issues with 2 when it came out. There was a lot of latency.
2 actually has the best PvP.
And it's the worst regarded for its PvE.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. All right, Mel, what's your topic?
My topic is about one of my favorite manga, Ballroom a Yokoso, or Welcome to the Ballroom. It's not super popular, but it is highly ranked, like on
I'd
my
never heard
anime
of it.
list. Right. And it should be getting more attention since it has an anime in July coming out, which I'm looking forward to. It's 46 chapters monthly, so that's
Been around a while.
Yeah, or what is
And the author even went on hiatus for a little bit, right?
Yep, and a whole year.
Oh my
because the author Tomo Takeuchi, they got ill, which is very common.
Yeah, manga always got ill because they just work so hard.
Yeah. But it's about a boy named Tatara Fujita who doesn't have any real motivations or dreams, and he would like one talent. He doesn't want to be super smart or amazing at sports. Just something that would give him confidence.
Yeah, because he in the first chapter he gets beat up by bullies basically, and he's trying to kind of find something to help him, like Mal said, boost that confidence up.
Yep, and through coincidence, the what he was a flyer he was looking at when right before getting beaten up, and a passerby, he ends up being dragged to a dance studio by Sengoku Kaname, who happens to be Japan's top competitive dancer, and he's a master of all 10 dances. And in competitive dance, you have 2 types, 5 in each, and its standard set is waltz, Venetian waltz, foxtrot, quick step, and tango. And the Latin ones are samba, cha-cha, jive, paso doble, and the rumba. And he's the top dancer in Japan. He does all 10. And Tatara ends up deciding that he wants to be like Sengoku and become a competitive dancer. And so the manga follows him throughout it all.
Yeah, I you mentioned this to me, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna, at least get some bare bones, find out what it's about, maybe read the first chapter. So it was a few hours before we started recording, I started reading the first chapter. Now I'm already like 8 chapters in, and it's a monthly manga, so it's basically like 45 pages as a chapter, so it takes a while to read that stuff. I think it's really interesting, really good. Like, it's always these weird sports manga and anime that end up coming out really well.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for like main characters with no inherent ability that just end up putting in tons of hard work to make it. Which is basically what happens.
There's a hilarious scene early on in the manga where I think Sengoku's basically like, the first dance he teaches Tatara is, he's like, all right, you got to learn the waltz. It's a basic 3/4 rhythm. It's like the easiest one. It's what everyone starts with. Keep doing it. Keep practicing. He's
just
at their studio.
Step. He's like, keep doing this box step until I tell you to stop.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and he's like just leaves, and then Tatara ends up doing it like all night long.
Yeah, because he was
said,
pissed
"Don't
off.
Yeah,
Sengoku gets pissed off because he didn't like Tatara's like, I want to be like you, and he's like, do I make it, or am I such a chump that it'd be so easy to be like me? And so he just like leaves for the night.
never tells him to stop, so he didn't tell him to stop, and he keeps dancing all night until they come in the studio the next morning and are like, "You goofy idiot, what have you been doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even notice it was light outside. You got like the light shining in their studio." It was hilarious. I like the manga that have the very funny like facial expressions and reactions that people do. Those are typically like the gags that usually get me in manga. And the art's actually surprisingly good.
It's
like
so
the
good.
dance stuff, the way the lines are drawn and the movement and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
for the motion shots, it starts to like dissolve into like speed lines, basically.
Yeah, and the characters will blur and stuff. And you get a really good pacing of the quick movements and the snapping, like when the girl will bow and the guy will lower her, or when they swirl around the dance floor. It's very creatively drawn.
It's a very character-driven shonen. Doesn't do the the typical like at least weekly shonen stuff where it's just all the competitions are all you get and it's all special moves and abilities. Like it's the competitions are important, but it's the focus is on Tatara trying to make it in the world of competitive dance with the different teachers, partners, and rivals. So yeah, the character development's really good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have a big anime when that comes out too.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it's Production IG, who did stuff like Eden of the East, Gets, XXX Holic.
Yeah, they've done a bunch of video game animated cutscenes for video games like Ob's favorite Tales of Abyss and all the Tales basically, and Persona 5. And then they did
skating on the highway.
Well, they did that. They also did Ghost in the Shell, Attack on Titan, but they have done the Koro Koro no Basket for sports anime and the new volleyball one, Haikyuu.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then the guy who's going to be doing the music is the same guy who did My Hero Academy's music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that show has great music. And this is why I'm saying I think this is going to be big. We were talking about this earlier, Mal. Is this going to do for ballroom dancing what Yuri on Ice did for skating?
I can only hope so.
Everyone loves Yuri on Ice.
Right.
And deservedly so. I haven't watched all of it, but I liked what I did see. It really made skating interesting.
Right.
Was the best thing I liked the most about it. I think this is kind of what Production IG is going to kind of try to ride on the coattails a little bit of Yuri on Ice and
possibly
throw out another weird esoteric sports anime about ballroom dancing and see if it catches on with people. Because I mean, it's a very similar sport to ice skating. So that's kind of where I drew that connection. At least.
That's probably a fair one. I don't know about the timetable of when they decided to make this one versus seeing the success of Yuri on Ice, but it may have had something to do with it.
Yeah, there's no telling. I mean, Yuri on Ice was fall last year, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of my favorite manga. There's no like, it's not like romance is never really the focus. Like it's kind of like you can see like characters might like other characters, but there's no stupid like everyone two characters fawn over each other but won't confess because of reasons.
Yeah, that's the problem with most anime manga romances.
Yeah,
there's always the weird like we can't be honest with each other about something, and it creates needless complications and it drags on. And
I hate that about any anime or manga ever. It is the worst and most artificial form of conflict creation in a storyline. Characters can't fucking be honest with each other, really?
There is conflict, like with the sexual tension that comes with dancing, right? But it's definitely more mature than like typical shonen.
Yeah, I want to see more anime like, I think it's Oromonogatari, where the characters just hook up in like the first 3 episodes, and then like it's never really, and then they're fine for like the rest of the series. I mean, I'm not saying that this one needs to do that. I'm just saying like that's more of a probably clever play on romance to make it not like so trite and overdone like everything else is. especially shoujo manga, which I like shoujo manga, but that happens a lot in shoujo stuff.
Yep.
Usually when the whole plot revolves around the romance, you have to find a way to make it drag out. Unfortunately, contrived misunderstandings are often the way you do it.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit relatable though, too. Sometimes, you know, the whole I have a crush, but I don't know how to approach them.
yeah, that's fine. It's more like here's the love triangle, and this guy says weird stuff about the main character, then she starts to doubt him, and they break up, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's things that could be resolved with just by talking, and they for some reason don't, for no reason.
I'm curious, kind of, and I don't mind you maybe hinting a little bit at this, Mal. Like, how quickly does it ramp up to him? Because it seems like he catches on very quick. Like, I got to the scene where he's not very good at dancing, but he has impeccable eyes. So he can, watch someone and basically copy them after a few times. So does his skill level, ramp up super high, or is it kind of like My Hero, where it's a slow, steady?
It's pretty slow. He's still very, new to everything. Well, at least even compared to the people, I guess it's hard because he's around some of the best dancers of his age group.
Yeah, so you're going to get better,
right? But he even in the current chapter, he's just trying to start to be able to compete with them. Basically,
those are typically the
4 years down the line.
Yeah, those are typically the sports manga that I generally like. Is when the character starts from literally absolutely nothing, and they have to work at it instead of just being super gifted at it. Like if it's gaggy stuff like Roboto, I think that's funny because it's not really about necessarily the golf. It's more comedy. It's like that he's so good at golf and doesn't really care. But more like stuff like Baby Steps.
Yep.
I think this probably it gives me kind of Baby Steps vibes. The way he's probably going to progress.
I think you'll like it.
I'm looking forward to reading more of it.
I just hope it gets more than one core because you won't even meet one of the best girls in it.
I think the main girl's pretty cool, so.
Well, just wait.
I think that does it for us tonight. This has been episode of 8 of the podcast of 5 Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of 5 Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes, SoundCloud, now topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Fridays. Give us a follow on Twitter at Podcast5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast. Meta's been streaming Nioh. He's probably going to continue streaming Nioh, so if you want to check that out, check him out at twitch.tv/PSOflow. Until next time, we'll see you later, guys.
Later.
Goodbye.